Hello guys, my name is Kiminek. Welcome to another episode of 4 Dummies, featuring the Super Pershing, the riot shield. One day the little Pershing was driving down the street and suddenly he met the tiny mouse. They laughed, they screamed, then they laughed again, probably fought over some planets, but later on they had a child. Wait, what? No, really, what the fuck is that? The front plate is a goddamn piece of paper and just bounced a shell. How the Super Pershing? You like to see some fake 110mm of American armor in action? You like to see its own gun struggle while fighting with its own kind? And lastly, do you like to see your tank moving at the speed of this race car? If you said yes, this tank is just for you. Never probably stop listening to me and start thinking about whether or not I am freaking dumb. Yes, I am. Because I said that 101mm of armor is fake. Well, no, it isn't. It isn't fake at all. But you might have noticed one thing. The whole armor looks exactly like the one on a Pershing because, well, this thing is a goddamn Pershing. However, to increase the power of a regular Pershing, somebody decided to put the S word in front of its name and it was Suka. But that wasn't American enough, so the search continued until they found a new S word, which was Subway. This one fit perfectly since, as most of the American fast foods, Subway was really great at representing the American culture. This obviously led to Pershing gaining a few pounds, and you know what happened next. This finished slick medium put a thick layer of fat on the front of it. So from just being an American tank, this thing became a super American tank. No, not like the ones you currently see on the screen, but something more like this. So from something that just barely could avoid getting shot by a high explosive, this tank evolved into this fat medium tank, which moves at the speed of a heavy tank. However, this sluggishness comes with its bonuses, as this thing has practically impenetrable front plate. You've got to have at least 235 armor penetration to be capable of penetrating it 50% of the time. And if you haven't realized, there are only very few non-TD tanks having such a huge armor penetration values on a tier 8. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it isn't the armor of a tank that is increased, it is a spaced armor that is added, which is only better. You know why? In the game, the spaced armor is far more useful than the actual armor of a tank. The reason is that it absorbs high explosives, heat, and HESH ammunition because all of them explode on touch. Which means that the explosion caused by the shell will hit the spaced armor instead of the actual whole armor, thus dealing no damage at all. So if you can penetrate some German tank with their nasty side skirts, so you will decide to load in high explosives so you can deal at least those 20 points of damage instead of none, you still won't do a thing to them because the HE will be fully absorbed by their space armor. The same effect applies to the tracks. If you shoot them, you may damage them, you may break them, but you won't actually hit the tank, thus you won't deal any damage to the tank. This as well obviously applies to the frontal space armor of a Super Pershing. Now, I explained all of that because of some idiots that got me banned about half of a year ago for unapproved third-party programs. They couldn't pen me with their AP ammunition, so they loaded heat ammunition. And I, as a lonely SP in a town of Siegfried Line, just pointed my whole armor directly towards that platoon of total idiots, racking up nearly 8k block damage and about 5 raging noobs unable to understand basic mechanics of a game. So I truly don't want that to happen again to anyone. Either way, the SP is impenetrable monster frontally. It's like the Great Wall of Trump protecting the America from unwanted penetrations while spreading 90mm of freedom all around the battlefield. But there must be a certain way to counter this apart from just driving around it, no? Well, yeah, there is. Just shoot high explosives underneath it and then go on YouTube and make a video about how to penetrate the SP. No fucking hell. No, this tank actually has quite a few easy to hit weak spots. First one being this little tit on the front and the second one being its turret, anywhere apart from the gun mantlet and these floppy ears. However, mainly since we know how trolly the accuracy may be, focus the left cupola because it is absolutely humongous. For some reason, the Americans thought that there are some super intelligent beings and they need 2 meters large cupolas into which they can fit their enormous smart heads. Like seriously, look look at the American tanks and you will see that the cupolas are just oversized. Still though, I've got to point out one thing, and that is that the Wargaming is freaking lazy and they did not make a hitbox for a right cupola. Actually, even if they did make a hitbox for it, your shell would probably still bounce off thanks to the great angling. Either way, the most effective way of taking the SP down is just simply going surprise butt sex at it. Now, we shouldn't forget that there are even other stats than the survivability, and that is for example the firepower, which is kinda disappointing really. The gun has a caliber of an average roll of toilet paper, which truly can compete with most heavy tanks, especially those Russian ones. Now, if you don't know the correlation of gun caliber to alpha, I'll explain it to you quite simple. The bigger the boomstick, the bigger the fun pack loaded in it. The bigger the fun pack, the bigger damage caused by it. So it's kinda obvious that the Death Star, for example, will cause more damage than, I don't know, Object 430. However, with smaller potatoes being loaded into the gun, their reload tends to get lower. Well, not as much in this case. Surprisingly enough, the Super Pershing gets only about 1850 DPM, which is most certainly not a lot. It is about average, but the main problem here is that the enemies you are most likely going to face, so heavy tanks, get actually more DPM. Look at the IS-38 for example. It has 2000 alpha damage. Whoa, that would be a lot of alpha. Nah, that doesn't matter now. The IS-38 gets 2000 damage per minute, which is about 150 more than the SP. And plus to that, the IS-38 has 390 alpha damage. So not only that you can't trade with it, but you can't even brawl with it. This leaves you absolutely defenseless when the IS-38 decides to 1v1 you. But let's not talk about Russian heavies because, you know, instead of that, let's take a look at some other nation like Japan, where I'll show only one thing, and it is this. By now you should understand that the tank has crap alpha and kinda mad DPM. But what about its other stats? You know, the accuracy and the penetration? Well, it's one huge disappointment since this tank doesn't look like a piece of a schnitzel, which means that its accuracy isn't that awesome. Now it isn't bad either, but since its other stats aren't really that great, I would definitely expect a bit more. Plus that the gun is really long, thin but long, and if you don't know, longer guns have higher accuracy than the short ones because the shell will have longer time to adjust its trajectory. So at least for me, it was really surprising at first when I found out that the gun this long is not that accurate. Lastly, the penetration is just laughable. It was buffed recently from 170 to 192 because the old 170 was just unplayable. But the new 192 still isn't good enough to penetrate, for example, the whole armor of an IS-3 or seriously any heavy tank frontal whole armor at a tier 8. So despite its buff, it ain't gonna do much. And you have got to either suffer on a medium tank flank because of your mobility or suffer in town because of your penetration. Lastly, the mobility is, as I said multiple times already, complete trash. This thing would be slow for a heavy, not a long, a medium, a heavy, but it has 40 km per hour top speed. Yeah, it might have, but it's more of a challenge rather than the actual top speed. It is a challenge which you can do down hills from a hill of a Himmelsdorf because you will spend like 7 minutes getting there. Hans, bring me these cures. First off, you want repairs, no doubt. Then drop for 6 cents and save stowage. Then start again with repairs, but add situational awareness, snapshot, and smooth ride. Once you get 100%, go for brothers in arms. Surprisingly enough, this tank has rather decent sneaky breaky values thanks to it being a medium, so you can quite possibly go for a camo instead of something like save stowage or repairs. And now to the equipment. First of all, gun rammer. It just simply must go on every tank you wanna go. Second of all, the improved ventilation because you don't have that many other choices overall here, and you can always use those few bonus percent to your crew. And last of all, vertical stabilizer. Again, a lot of people talks about whether or not you should go with the gun length drive or the stabilizer, and the answer is quite one-sided. The stabilizer. This tank certainly isn't some kind of camper, it is a town fighter, and to make up for drastic lack of mobility compared to other heavies, you have got to move even while firing, and the only kind of equipment capable of helping you with that is the stabilizer. And last of all is gonna be the thing that you are probably all waiting for, and that is the gameplay. Now this tank has actually quite a bit of a weird playstyle. It can be played like a normal heavy thanks to its lack of alpha and the armor. It can trade shots with other heavies because practically all of them have higher alpha, and can't even side scrape thanks to its side armor of a toilet paper thickness. Now that I think of it, this tank shouldn't be nicknamed the Riot Shield but a toilet paper tank. Either way, simply going to the town won't be the greatest idea in your case. But where should go then? The fields? Well, even that isn't the greatest option because there are numerous tanks capable of flanking you. You know, the mediums. Well, where should go So then, there's practically no other option. What if I told you that there is a way? Play it like a heavy but on a medium tank flank. Just look at the replays playing in the background. All of those people play the SP on the medium tank flanks, but they were always pull down, pointing their front at the enemies, head scraping, etc. You get a point. Don't play like a heavy or a medium, play it differently. Play it like only the Super Pershing can. This is possibly the reason why a lot of people like this tank despite its rather bad stats. You cannot play it normally, casually. You must adopt its unique playstyle. You must work rich lines. By the way, I forgot to mention that the Super Pershing has rather decent gun impression. You must face enemies directly instead of angling and so on. Just look at the El Haluf for example. If you went over here, TDs would pick you apart. If you want to snipe, no. You can't because of your accuracy. This place, you are too slow for that. And what about this one? Now you will expose too much of your side armor to the enemy, so you will practically kill yourself. The only remaining flank is this one, which is a medium tank flank. However, if you play it like this guy did, you will be capable of doing miracles. Anyways, this is gonna be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, give it a like. If you did not, please give it a dislike because I wanna know whether or not I should improve. If you already gave it a dislike, comment down below about what you disliked about the video so I can change it in the future. Other than that, you can comment down below which tank you want to see in the next episode. Either way, hope you enjoyed and I hope that I'll see you next time. Bye.